was subtle, it was sly, but it was idolatry nonetheless. And it angered God. It angered God significantly. He did not want to see golden calves receiving glory for something He gave to His children, Israel. He gave them freedom. He gave them bread in the wilderness. He gave them water from a rock. He gave them liberty from their taskmasters. And He did not appreciate golden calves receiving the glory and the honor and the worship for this gift that He gave to His children. And it angered Him so much that He spoke into the mind of a young prophet in Judah. And he said, I want you to get ready. I'm going to send you into Bethel. And you're going to prophesy to Jeroboam. And when you prophesy to him, I want you to use these words. I want you to tell him that there is a king coming. His name will be Josiah. And when he comes, he will come with righteous fury. And he will tear down these calves. He will tear down any idolatry that is spawned from this calf. You have made Israel to sin, Jeroboam, and it has caught the attention of God, and God is not happy, and He's bringing it down. And He said to the young prophet, I want you to go directly to Bethel, and I don't want you to stop anywhere and eat at anybody's house. Don't want you to stop and eat and drink at anybody's house, visit with anybody in their house. You just go to Bethel, you preach what I tell you to preach, and you come back to Judah. Don't stop and eat, don't stop and drink, just get there and get back. That kind of a direction, that kind of instruction didn't seem to make any sense at all. But God knew something the young man didn't know. God knew there was a lion on the loose. And God had given him a route that would have caused him to avoid encountering the lion. Sometimes God's instructions don't make sense to us, but they make sense, and you can count on that. He came to the king Jeroboam, and sure enough, just like God told him to say it, he said it with authority. And he said, thus saith the word of the Lord. God has taken notice of these calves you've placed in Bethel, these calves you've placed in Dan, and you're worshiping these calves in His place, and He is not happy with it, and His judgment will come upon this place. His judgment will come upon these calves. His judgment will come upon this idolatry and anybody associated with it. And there'll come a king named Josiah, and he will enact the wrath of God. The indignant anger of righteous God will flow through him, and he will speak with the authority of a sovereign potentate who will enact and exact His righteousness upon the land. Jeroboam was angry about this, and he stretched forth his hand to order the execution of the young prophet. When he did, his hand withered, and to where he couldn't even draw it in back to himself. And the ashes of the altar poured out as the altar rent right there in front of their sight. And Jeroboam became quite concerned because he could see clearly that the young prophet had spoken with the word of the Lord. And he said to the young prophet, after there was prayer and his hand was restored, he said, young prophet, he said, come to my house and speak to me more about this king that is coming. I want to know when he's coming. I want to know who he is. I want to know exactly where he's coming from. So come to my house, eat with me, drink with me, spend time with me. And the young prophet said, oh no, sir, I can't do that. See, here's part of the equation. I've got to go back to Judah because God told me I have to come and I have to go. And I can't spend any time at your house. And he walked out rightly and began to go back to where God called him from. And as he did, he stopped for some rest. In the meantime, word spread throughout the kingdom that a young prophet had walked boldly into the altar area at Bethel and had pointed his finger in the face of Jeroboam, could have been executed, could have been killed, but told him these idols are false. This worship of these idols is false, and you are in danger of the wrath of God, and that there is a king coming, and his name is Josiah, and God will anoint him to bring down this idolatry, and anybody associated with it will come down at the same time. And word reached the ears of an old prophet who apparently is hoping somebody would say something to Jeroboam, who was hoping somebody would see the truth about what these golden calves represented. And this old prophet said, get my gear together to the young servants. They got their gear together. He went to the young prophet, found him sitting under a tree, under the shade of the tree, and he said, young prophet, I hear you spoken words of boldness and clarity to King Jeroboam.
Right.
The young prophet said, that would be right. He said, I want you to come to my house, and I want you to tell me what you saw in a vision, what God told you, or who this king is, where he's going to come from. I want to know, will I see him, or will my children see him? Or what time frame are we talking about? Details, man, details. The young prophet said, I'm sorry, sir. He said, God told me I go to Bethel, and I get back to Judah. I can't go to anybody's house. I can't eat and drink with anybody. And he said, well, I am a prophet too, and the Lord told me that you are perfectly fine to come on over.
My God.
What's wrong with my house? What's wrong with my table?
Listen, come
He
on.
overrode what the word of the Lord had spoken to the young prophet. And the young prophet allowed him to do it, and he got up and he went to this house. They sat down and they shared conversation. In the middle of eating the meal, God speaks to the old prophet and said, you misled him. You misguided him. He's going to die. Because now this intersection I was helping to avoid is going to be inevitable. And the lion will take him down. The old prophet said, man, you got to get out of here as quick as you can. You're in danger. And the Lord spoke to me and said, you're in real danger. The young prophet took off. Sure enough, encountered that lion. That lion killed the young prophet. He lay there, not eaten, not devoured, but just simply killed. That's the way the enemy works. He's not hunting for hunger. He's hunting for sport. And he brings this young prophet down. And the old prophet just evidently he couldn't really reconcile when he thought about all of this. And, thinking about what the young prophet said, thinking about the fact that he misled him, thinking about the fact that the young prophet disobeyed God on his own word. And so he jumped up and he said, I've got to find out the fate of this young prophet. He grabbed his servants again. They took off. They found the body of this young prophet with the lion at one end of it and the mule he was riding on the other end of it. And he looked at that body, and I'm imagining all of the mixture of emotions he must have had. Why did I say what I said? Why did I do what I did? And why did I tell him a lie?
Right.
God used this young prophet. God spoke through him. He addressed power. He addressed the power of King Jeroboam, who the Bible repeatedly says made Israel to sin. He said, why did I do this? And this young prophet spoke the word of truth. There is a king coming. God is going to bring righteousness.